Welcome back. Sabino sophomore Abby Sable had about as tough a start to the year as you can imagine. A new school, new team, and a personal tragedy you wouldn't expect any 15-year-old to go through. Her teammates on the cheer squad, though, were there to pick her up in her time of need, and their story is the subject of this week's Off the Gridiron. West Lafayette, Indiana. It's where Abby Sable called home, where she was part of the cheer squad, volleyball team, where her friends were. That changed 2 years ago when her family moved out to Tucson.
She was not happy about the whole thing. She really enjoyed being in West Lafayette.
This year, Abby transferred to Sabino High School. As part of the cheer squad, she was trying to find her way, make friends, reach that comfort level she had back in Indiana. A couple weeks in, tragedy struck 1,700 miles away.
3 Harrison freshmen remain in the hospital after suffering injuries in an ATV accident. A 4th is recovering at home.
They were out riding an ATV and they had cut a corner and went out on a county road and a Jeep hit them head on.
4 of her friends were riding the ATV that night. 14-year-old Maya Getz died from injuries sustained in the crash. Her 3 other friends would survive but were seriously injured. Abby wanted to go back for Maya's funeral, but didn't seem like it was going to happen.
It kind of just wasn't an option because it'd be too expensive, and I didn't really think of anything but not going.
That's when the Sabino cheer squad stepped up.
And I just told them the idea, and then Stephanie and Lindsay thought it was a good idea, and we talked to the coach about it.
I realized that the funeral's in 3 days. So I was like, okay, we need to start this. So I sent a message through Facebook to everyone except Abby, and just saying that, stating what happened, and that she really wants to go, and that we should all gather money as much as we can and see if we can buy her ticket to send her there.
Ready, guys?
In just 3 days, they raised more than $600 as a team to buy her a round-trip ticket to Indiana. The day before Maya's funeral, Abby got the surprise of her life.
We put it in an envelope. It was a 5:30 a.m. practice, and we told her to sit in the center of the circle, and we surprised her.
When I opened it, it was just I don't even remember seeing the ticket. I just opened it, and I kind of read through it real quick, and then I just started bawling my eyes out.
The look on her face is that's why I coach.
The next morning, the Sabino sophomore flew back to West Lafayette to say her final goodbyes to her friend.
Her mom, she gave me a hug, and she was like, I can't believe you came all this way, just for this, and I can't believe it either. It was just really shocking to be there and sad at the same time. We are kind of like a family, it brought us really close together, and it was just really great feeling to have somebody, to have 20 other girls who love you that much to do something like that for you.
Time to go home there, ball.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
That's the age-old question for golfers everywhere. When it comes to the PGA Tour, they make that home as nice as possible.
It's a pretty meticulous process.
A process that includes 13 steps just to prepare one golf hole.
We've got a team of 2 guys that come out. One guy's in charge of cutting the new cup and taking that plug and placing it into the old existing plug. And ideally, we won't see there was ever a cup there before.
But the real work is just beginning. Now they need paint and scissors to make that new cup perfect.
The purpose of the white paint is so that the camera can see the hole from a distance from the TV tower.
How about this? The scissors help shore up any possible loose ends.
When there's a $750,000 putt on the line, that if there's a piece of grass there that holds that ball from falling in, I'm going to hear from the players.
Then it's time for the finishing touches.
We need to be at 1 1/16 of our depth from the top of the cup to the top of the turf. And then at that point, we make sure that the pin is tapped down correctly, and that's it.
The end result, a PGA Tour ready golf hole.
This would be the Ritz-Carlton of the cups.
Are you too good for your home?
Which begs the question, is that home too good for the ball? This what Happy was searching for, the bottom of the cup, and just know on Sunday when the winning putt is sunk, Out here at the Accenture match play, the champion will have found a pretty happy home. Back to you, Ryan. Often we hear coaches and players talking about overcoming adversity on the field. But what does a coach say to a kid who nearly lost his life off the field? That's what happened to Tucson High's Will Davis, who you just saw this past August. He's the subject of this week's Off the Gridiron.
And we're following news of an early morning house fire.
It was me and my brother. He woke up to smoke. He was coughing on it. And then I was still asleep and he came and got me. And so we got out and called 911. They said it was an electrical fire and a chair caught on fire that it was under.
The results were, horrific. He lost close to 80% of his house.
August 28th, 2012, a day that Tucson High senior Will Davis will never forget. That's when he nearly lost his life, as well as his house. After the fire, he and his family were left to pick up the pieces. That's when his football family decided to lend a helping hand.
Some of them brought gift cards for dinner, for Target, bringing clothes, offering to come help work on the house or do whatever we needed. They were there for me.
We're always here for him. We're family, so we're all just treated the same and we all help each other out. We go to each other when we need it.
Being with his teammates on the gridiron turned into a refuge for the Badgers kicker.
I think it helped me out a lot because when you're out here on the field, you don't think about what you're going through. It's just everything's football.
From one of his darkest days to one of his brightest nights, Davis kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime this past Friday night at CDO.
Nervous. It was like my first game all over again.
And it's going to be a while till everything gets back to normal for him. But he hasn't let it affect him. He's come out here, he's put in his work, and he had a great production the other night.
And Will and his family moved into his grandparents' house in town. He told me it'll take at least 6 months to rebuild their family home.